Straight question, straight answer.
So I also recommend first build an emergency fund, so you're safe if anything happens, anything unexpected. And then with the rest of the money, you start investing long term.
That's it. When I talked to you last time regarding the investments for my kids, you actually told me a lot of tax benefits are there.
Okay, but if you invest on your child's name, because
I want to buy an apartment here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to live here longer.
Yeah. Free tax limit of 1,000 as a single person, or up to 2,000 euros of interest per year. 2,000 for a married couple, 1,000 for a single person.
In India, usually investments on gold are very common.
I would also recommend to make a plan that's still flexible, because I think many expats don't know will they go back to their home country or will they stay here long term. But that's my first advice I would give, and that's also what I try to explain. How does the pension system work here? How does the tax system work? We go through a salary slip. So what will actually be deducted between brutto and... The first advice would be to understand the German economical and tax system.
So Celina, thank you so much for coming to my podcast.
Thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure. So actually, this is my first time that I'm doing a podcast with a financial expert.
Ah, interesting.
Right. Yeah. So I came to Germany in 2010. It's almost 14 years. Yeah, I've settled in my career. I did a lot of stuff here in Germany as an expat from India. But I still miss a lot, I feel like, because I couldn't know a lot of knowledge regarding how to divert my money that I earn till now in a meaningful way, so that I don't regret now.
Yeah.
Right? But because the thing is, there are a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm not sure that I'm going to stay here for a long time initially. The second thing is, I don't know the language. The third thing is, there are no sources where I can go and, ask all the questions,
Yeah.
So we are usually, the expats are usually career oriented, not financial oriented. So to be successful in the life, not only one should be career oriented, but also in financial knowledge. They also need a financial knowledge. There are two important wheels of a cart. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
In my case, I lost one. Not completely.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have regretted if I knew before. So with that, I really thank you once again, because when I talked to you last time regarding the investment opportunities for my kids, I really got a lot of information from you.
That's right.
So that's what led me to invite you for the podcast, so that it helps a lot of other expats here in Germany or Europe to clear a lot of their questions that are burning inside them. They didn't know actually whom to approach.
Yeah.
Right? So with that, I would like to ask you first question. So could you please explain how you actually started your financial career your career as a financial consultant?
Yeah, sure. First, thank you so much again for inviting me on your podcast. I think it's a very important topic, as you said, to gain the financial knowledge, to have the best opportunities in life, and to actually achieve the financial, but also the other goals, because most of them are related to the finances as well. So about myself, actually I started going into the financial sector quite early, so already with age 18 or 19. Because to family-related situations. My father is a financial consultant for over 35 years.
Okay.
So it was a topic that I was always close to. To be honest, when I was younger, I could never imagine having a career in that field, because I always even I found it quite boring at some times. And but when I got older, I realized that most topics are connected to finances, and if I actually want to have an impact on other people's life, actually through finances, that's a very good way to do that, because if I help improving their finances, also their quality of life will be improved. So that's why I started it as a side business when I was about 18 or 19, and I built it up over the last 8 to 10 years. And I also did my studies, my bachelor's in economics with main factor in finances in Marburg. And yeah, that's how I started and built up my career in the last 10 years.
Okay. But why did you get bored in between?
No, I didn't get bored in between. But as a teenager, I found it quite a boring topic. I could never imagine going the path of my father. And actually now we're working as a family business, also with my brother and my mother. But only with 18 or 19, I realized how important this kind of topic is.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of products actually you started with when you started your career?
I did not only start with certain products. So I always did the all finance concept, which is that I will first look at a person's financial situation, current financial situation and financial goals for the future. And then I will do a concept based on what's actually interesting and important for that kind of person. So I did all the sectors: housing, investment, insurance, banking. Of course, I started with many young customers that were the same age as I was. Yeah. So, and also regarding the kind of customers I had, the kind of concepts varied a bit, but I always did the all finance concept.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what do you think people miss to do when in the early when they are in early stage of their career, when they start earning money? I think they start spending, right?
Yes.
Because what could be the reason? Because they don't have a source to know the value of the investing money.
Yeah, so I feel we live in a world where consumption is advertised a lot. So you see it everywhere. Also, when you buy something online with Amazon or somewhere else, they will offer you, okay, you can buy it now, but pay in 30 days.
All right.
And that's how people come in debt over time.
Okay.
Maybe not everyone, but I see a lot of young people that earn a lot of money, but they're always at zero by the end of the month.
Okay.
And then it takes some time for them. First, it's about realizing, okay, where will it bring me in the long run, and what can I change in order to improve my
Actually, so financial consultants are they're doing a lot of good, compared to the product manufacturers, and then trying to make people spend their money instead of that. And on the other way, so the financial experts are really helping people. So people, whenever a financial consultant consult or contact somebody, they should not maybe fear about that. Should feel welcomed, because it's
the stigma is too negative for this kind of job. Yeah,
still
that's true. Still, I mean, it improved a bit.
Yeah.
But still, but I understand, because as you said, I hear it from a lot of customers that banks will call them and ask them, oh, maybe you need some money for your next vacation or whatever, and they try to push the loans, try to sell the loans to them, and they don't have the goal to actually make the money grow.
All right. As an experienced financial consultant, what do you give a suggestion for an expat coming here and they started like a freshly started a job, for example? If you approach, so what do you give the first advice?
The first advice would be to understand the German economical and tax system.
Right.
I am so surprised. I meet experts that earn a lot and that have been living here for 5 to 10 years, and then in the first appointment I understand, okay, they don't know anything about the German tax system, and I'm quite surprised, but it's also quite complicated, so it's not their fault. But that's my first advice I would give, and that's also what I try to explain. How does the pension system work here? Does the tax system work? We go through a salary slip. So what will actually be deducted between brutto and netto? I think that's the first important thing to understand. And secondly, I would also recommend to make a plan that's still flexible, because I think many expats don't know, will they go back to their home country or will they stay here long term? But also not being too hesitant. Some people are very hesitant. They will end up doing nothing because they don't know about the future. But that's not the way to build wealth. So I would recommend a mix, a good concept, also with a longer term focus that will still keep you flexible if you stay here in Germany or move back.
Yeah. So actually, when even me, I didn't know that I have to file tax returns unless I use some government benefits. Then you must, right?
Yeah.
Until then, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
this is the same situation for most of the people, especially expats. Maybe now they're getting more aware of that, but 5 years back, no, not really. Yeah, but how can we? What are the options? How can we approach a chartered accountant to do that? I mean, most of the chartered accountants here in Germany are really busy. And some of my friends also started using an app and filing their own tax returns. So
TaxFix or
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you suggest? How can we get one reliable source? Is it an app or a person or?
So actually, I would recommend a Lohnsteuerhilfeverein for most employees. Those are quite cheap, so those you can find in any kind of city in Germany.
What is that, loan?
A Lohnsteuerhilfeverein.
Okay.
So
I can give the information in the link or information in the comments or the description, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So there are, because normal tax consultants, they are quite expensive. So because I'm self-employed, I need a tax consultant.
Yes.
But if you're a normal employee, you don't necessarily need one. But you can also make a lot of mistakes if you do it by yourself with an app. If you do that, please do a lot of research first online, so you know what to enter. And if you don't have the time or don't want to do that, then you can go to a Lohnsteuerhilfeverein. Usually they take 100 euros or less for helping you with the tax declaration, and they will know all the tips for normal employees. Actually.
Okay, that's good. So actually, as an expat, even after coming here and finishing more than 10 years of career, generally, we prefer to invest in India, buy some lands, buy whatever we do, because it's comfort zone.
Yeah, sure.
We do also like to invest here, but we really don't know.
Yeah.
Especially, as you said, the tax system here and a lot of rules and regulations we don't know. And language is also one of the barriers, of course, to be frank.
Sure.
So thinking that one time we go back, which will never happen, we keep on investing in our home countries. So how safe is that we can buy something here, property here, we invest here also, parallel to there? How safe is that for us? I mean, how easy for us?
Yeah. It's very easy and safe.
Okay.
Actually.
Right.
Of course, it depends on the types of investments you're choosing. But even though if you go for real estate, that is usually a long-term investment, you could still keep renting it out, even if you go back to India in the future. And there are a lot of chances of investing here in Germany, because you can also invest worldwide. We can invest in the European market, US market, Asian market, anywhere actually. And of course, the taxes, they can be a bit a bit complicated. There it's helpful to have a consultant to help you. But I would say the basics, they were quite simple. So if you've understood the rules of investment, how it works in India, then you also have a good chance to understand how it works in Germany.
That's cool. So for example, investing in stocks, ETFs, bonds, golds, and things. In Germany, if we want to find somebody who manages everything, how many firms are there? Like, how do you do that? If I say, could you please manage my funds?
Yeah. So usually, there are many consultants who will only do one part of finance. So there are a lot that will only do insurance, or others will only do banking loans, or only do investments. Okay, so our approach is that we will consult all the topics, and you only have one consultant, one trustful consultant, and that you can ask all your questions. Okay, so how we do it? First, we do an analysis of which is the goals, current financial situation, and see what's also the length of investment someone is looking for, and how much risk are they willing to take. And then we build a plan, build an investment portfolio, and we'll also watch it. So it's not just the selling part or putting it into practice, so it's also the long-term service that we will keep watching this investment, see how is it going. We will inform the customer if there are like single times where it's very advisable to invest a one-time sum additionally to the market, or when it's wise to sell and switch the strategy. Okay, tell me, like, if I have a lot of colleagues here in Germany, for example, they want to invest their money in a meaningful way. Where can they find you? Can they? And question number one, and then can they get all their questions answered when they simply call you? Sure. So of course you can find us online. Okay. Because I want to put it in the description. Yeah, I just wanted to say. So you can find us online. So actually we've also started building a larger team also of Indian expats that are living here for quite a while and also know the German system, but also understand the Indian mindset. So we've built a larger team there of consultants, and first we can always do a phone call to see what someone will need, what are their questions. But in English? In English, everything in English. So actually the whole process is in English. Of course, like the contracts, it's European law, like they need to be in German, but all the consultation sheets and all the communication will be in English for better understanding. It doesn't mean that they don't want to learn German. It's the only thing is when you go to the technical terms, even English is also the same, but a little bit they feel safer. So, they're a little bit more familiar with those terms, because you also want to understand exactly what kind of concept you will have. In India, usually investments on gold are very common. I've heard of it. Yes. Can we also do this here? Yeah. How can? So there are different ways. So of course you can buy gold in a physical form. But if you have it in a physical form, you also need some kind of safe, or you need to keep it in your apartment or in the bank somewhere, which can also be costly. So it's also a possibility to buy gold in a digital form and let someone else take care of the physical gold for you. You can invest monthly with a monthly plan, or also as one-time investment. Okay. And so you can also let the gold be sent to your home, but it's kind of decision. What do you prefer? Do you have the possibility to keep it safe at your home, or do you want someone else to take care of it? It's also tax-free after 1 year of holding. So you buy gold and hold for 1 year, and then you sell. It's tax-free. Exactly. The profit is tax-free. That's good to hear.
So then we can simply call you. Hey, Celina, want to invest something in gold.
Yeah.
Then
sure.
you guide them.
Yeah.
Perfect. So apart from gold, what are the other options here available?
Yeah. So of course there are the normal options that many experts should be aware of, which are bonds, stocks, mutual funds, but also real estate is a very interesting kind of subject. There's also the possibility to have a lot of tax savings when you invest in real estate. Don't live there on your own, but use it as an investment.
Okay, then I have tax benefits.
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back to the basic question. So why do you think it is important for an expat to invest money in Germany?
Inflation.
Right? Yes.
If I had to put it in one word.
Simple.
Similar to India, we also have inflation here in Germany. At the moment, it's between 3 and 4%. I think in India it's even higher. So actually our money will lose a lot of worth over time. So if you just keep it in your bank account, or even if you have something like a Tagesgeldkonto where you get some kind of interest, maybe a few percent, you want to beat the inflation to actually start building your wealth. Otherwise, you will run in circles and cannot go forward. Yeah.
Right. But people usually think if I invest, for example, in stocks, investment means usually it comes to our mind is stocks.
Yeah.
But usually, I mean, so, but stocks are highly volatile, right? So this is what, and so this is volatile. The second thing is, if I invest in real estate, I really don't know how it works. I may save some documentation, everything, and what are the tax things. So most of the people feel when they go back from investments because of these reasons. If they go to stocks, volatility. They go to real estate, don't know the details. You know. Or if they go to gold, they don't even know if there is an option like buying a gold here or physical or I don't know how that. So instead of that, they keep on saving money and lose the value due to the inflation, right?
That's true.
Stocks, bonds, everything. So they feel like volatile or they don't know what. So is there any transparent system? So you take their money and really show them real time the values every time, you know. This is where this is the percentage of money went to ETFs and blah blah here and something like that. Yeah,
sure. So I totally agree with you. I feel like one problem with investments is also people tend to jump too fast to high volatility. Maybe they just do normal savings, then they want to do stocks or crypto or whatever, and then they're disappointed if they will lose some money. So I would either recommend to take little steps. So usually we only consult mutual funds because it gives a better security for the customer. And based on the timeline, how long someone wants to invest, we start with bonds in forms of mutual funds and then go to mutual funds that involves more and more stocks. But still that the level of risk is still suitable for the person's
The customer can adjust the risk level of risk every time?
Yeah. Sure. Right. You can switch it every month, every time. It's very flexible. It's not a problem.
Okay. So now, if one of my colleague calls you and says, "Okay, I want to meaningfully invest my money," what are the options you actually give them?
Yeah. It's difficult to give a general answer there because it's very individual. But usually we have the different options, of course, of mutual funds, depending if it's in bonds or stocks. We would like to add a bit of gold. So we also like to have a mix of mutual funds and gold, because usually if the stock market will decrease, gold will increase. So it gives you a nice balance to have both in your portfolio. Real estate, we only recommend if you're a bit more, if you have a bit more knowledge and a bit more experience on the market. So maybe after being customer of a few years, then we would also recommend to continue with real estate if someone's
So real estate in the sense, you invest in real estate firms,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't so much recommend to invest in real estate through mutual funds,
Okay.
because it has very low performance, and also cancellation limits of like a year or two. So it's very unflexible. So investment in real estate, you buy, let's say, an apartment, and you don't live there yourself, but someone else will live.
Okay.
And also what we recommend, what many people underestimate, is also saving taxes through pension schemes. So this is something, I think it doesn't exist in India, so that's why many people are not aware of it.
How come? How does it work?
So it works that if the government says if you're ready to invest long term and do something for a pension, then they will support you by reducing the taxes for that scheme. So there are schemes where you can get 30 to 40% of your annual contributions from your own pocket. You can get back through your tax declaration.
This is interesting.
So it can be very interesting, and I feel like most people are only focused on the short-term interest they can get, but saving taxes is a way bigger flex.
Okay.
That will give you an even higher performance.
Okay. I want to buy an apartment here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to live here longer.
Yeah.
I may go to US or go back to India or some other country, but still there is no reason that I should sell it and go, or I can still maintain the property, right?
Yeah.
How easy it is?
So there are several companies. So first there's the Hausverwaltung. That's the German word.
Hausverwaltung.
So if you have a single house, then it's a bit more difficult, because then you have to take care of everything on your own, or you pay for a company that will take care of it, some kind of broker company. They also do the renting and service part. It's easier if you buy an apartment, because there will be a Verwaltung for all the different apartments in the overall building, and you pay them some money that they will take care of the duties.
No matter where you are in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you can also, let's say once a year, there is a get together of all the owners of the different apartments. So maybe once a year you can go back, or you ask a friend that you know that still lives in Germany to go there.
Okay.
And
For the annual meeting.
for the
to
annual
sit there.
meeting, yeah.
Okay. Maybe in the future they can do online meetings.
Yeah,
I don't know.
may still take some years
okay,
because
okay.
Germany is not that digital, but yeah,
Alright.
that's possible.
But is it possible that my friend or my colleague can go and sit in that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
They need like a written statement from you that they do it in your name, but then it's totally fine.
Okay, that's cool. When I talked to you last time regarding the investments for my kids, so you actually told me a lot of tax benefits are there. Could you please explain me that?
Yeah, sure. So actually, it can be very beneficial to invest on your children's name and do investments, because usually as adults that have normal jobs, we only have a free tax limit of 1,000 as a single person, or up to 2,000 euros of interest per year. 2,000 for a married couple, 1,000 for a single person. Okay. So that's limited. Okay, but if you invest on your child's name, because there's a general tax-free limit of income up to 11,600 euros annually. And as long as your children don't have any job, they can take advantage of this full amount regarding their investments and the interest they get on their investments.
Okay. But once I invest on my child, I can't take the money back, right?
So So, of course, it's a bit tricky. So, until your child is 18, you manage the investments for them. So, you could decide to also take the money out earlier, maybe part of the money.
I can use it?
You can use it.
Okay, I'm safe.
Yeah. And maybe like part of the money you can leave on your kid's name, and once they're 18 or older, then they can take over the investments and they can decide for their future.
Yeah, every parent actually wants kids to be safe and put something, so it's a good option, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. What do you think the least amount that I can start with to invest for my kids?
So least amount is 25 euros.
This is nice.
But actually what I usually recommend is you get 250 euro of Kindergeld a month, right?
Kindergeld, yes.
So I always ask my customers, like, what amount of the 250 you want to invest for your child's future? Because it's also meant for the child.
Yeah.
So I think like most of my customers take at least half of that sum to invest it for their kids' future.
But first of all, is it allowed to do that?
Sure.
Legally?
Yeah.
Good.
It's very much allowed.
Yeah, because these are a lot of questions actually we don't know. Okay, good. What do we have to be very, very careful while we invest for general investment purpose? So what are the things that we should be careful about? Risks, what are the risks that we are going to bear?
Yeah. So I feel, of course, like everyone's talking about risks when it comes to investments, which is right. There's no investment without a risk, but risk is just another word for volatility. So the higher the risk, the higher the volatility. Right. If you plan to invest longer term in the first place, then volatility can be actually very good for you. So you just have a high risk if you invest with high volatility for a very short period of time. Then you go to maximum risk. If you have the same kind of investment for double or third the time, then the risk will drop a lot. Sure. So those are the factors we need to consider. And I think that's also one of the problems. Most people won't have an emergency fund. They will just jump to investments, and then they will need the money after a year because the fridge broke or something else. They need the money. So I also recommend first build an emergency fund so you're safe if anything happens, anything unexpected. And then with the rest of the money you start investing long term. So the risk you have will decrease a lot.
That's a good idea. Okay. So do you also have a cryptocurrencies in your portfolio when we invest? No. What is your opinion on investments on cryptocurrencies right now?
I think it's okay. It can be a good option, but there's no investment with a higher volatility than with crypto. So please only do it once you've built an emergency fund and did little steps first. First bonds, mutual funds, then maybe some stocks, and only with some like play money that you don't really need, start investing into crypto. Okay. But do it carefully. That would be my advice.
So usually if I invest in stocks, I do something like top 50 companies or top 500 companies, something like that. Is there also there in Germany something like that?
So the DAX is
right?
like the index, right? For that represents the biggest companies in Germany. So, but I would never recommend to only go with like one fund that only represents one index. So I would always spread the risk to different kinds of markets because statistically every 7 years the world economy will have some kind of crisis at least. Actually in the last years it was more often. Let's say every 3 years. and it happens more unexpected. So it becomes more and more important to be to have a wide range of portfolios. So you again don't have such high risk when it comes to investment.
Yeah. So some of my colleagues also have a kind of opinion, something like, yeah, I mean, Germany economy is always kind of more stable. Not, you can't expect high, or even also not too lows, right? In that case, is it a good option, but still to consider Germany as a good place to invest?
Yes, as one part of your portfolio, not the only focus.
Sure. Okay. Straight question, straight answer. All right. Yeah. So, do you think the long-term investments are safer or a risk?
They are safer, but the people are the risk when it comes to long-term investments. So I feel like theoretically it sounds very easy. We just say, okay, please invest long-term, don't touch the money for several centuries, you will be fine. But in practice it's very difficult.
Yes.
Because the emotional part can be very difficult. People will panic when markets are dropping. And they will call me like, oh, are you sure this is the right way, blah, blah, which I understand. I totally understand, because it's their money and they're safe for it and everything. But it's very important to keep going, or especially buy more parts of this mutual fund or of the stocks if markets are low. And only sell if markets are high. Never sell in a low because you panic.
Yes.
That's only like when people tell me, oh, I tried investing, but it didn't work. I lost a lot of money. Those are the people that panicked and they sold when it was at the lowest. Please don't do that.
Okay. Or is there an option with you that you take the money and lock it? You don't give it back until 5 or 10 years. Is there something like that?
Yeah. So I mean, I can't keep the money for locking period. But of course, it's very helpful for a lot of customers. I will tell them, okay, please don't panic. We already talked about that in the first consultation, that this can happen and it will happen. And actually, it's good for you in the long run, because now as markets are low, you will buy very cheap. That's why it's also very good to invest monthly, because then you invest when markets are high, but also when they are low. And especially when they are low, you buy very cheap and have a double return when markets will rise up.
All right. But how long is the long-term investment? 10 years?
Yeah,
20?
10 years or more.
10 years.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
So while you are taking the responsibility of my money, and then you are taking all the risks on behalf of me, and I could go to sleep, but you are also have the right to take some fees, right?
Sure.
So how do you explain that?
Yeah, of course we don't live from air and love, so there's also the money part. Yeah, of course. So we take a lot of time, of course, first in the planning of the investments, and then on the maintaining and screening. Is everything going fine? Do we need to change or switch anything? And of course, a little part of the money a customer is investing will also go to our pocket, because we do a very important job to keep their money growing. But in the overall look, when we see at compound interest and how the money will grow, it's just a very small part.
Very small, and this kind of win-win situation. So it's a good idea to to give our money in a good hands and keep our money in good hands.
Sure. So I feel many people think they are able to do it on their own. And I feel like, of course, there are some people that are able to do that. But you always have to consider what's the education that you went through, right? So of course, if I go to a doctor, I'm expecting that they did a proper education, they know what they're doing, they don't mess up anything in my body, right? So, and I think it's the same for the financials. It can be quite complex, and you also need to do certificates in Germany to even being able to consult this kind of topic. And I think most of the people also want an expert that has these certificates and to take care of their money.
Okay. So how do you charge?
Yeah.
You send us a bill at the end of the year, or
No. So actually, you will never get a bill from our side. So. We as advisors, we don't sell our own products or advise our own products. We always have corporations with banks, insurances, and so on. So basically, when the first initial phase, it's always for free. Okay, so people can come to us, ask some questions, and before they start doing the concept, they don't have to pay for anything. Okay, that's very important that people understand, because then they don't have to fear contacting us, okay?
Sure.
Once someone decides for a concept with certain banking, insurance partners, whatever, we will be paid by our partners, not by the customer directly, but of course there are some charges which we explained before, and then we will get paid by our banking, insurance partners, etc.
Okay. For example, some expats here, if they have a lot of money and they want short returns, more returns in a short time, and they are willing to take more risks, are there some suitable products with you? And
I wouldn't recommend short-term with high risk.
Okay.
So, of course, they can do short-term investments, but then I would always recommend lower risk options where they get some safe interest of a few percent. But high risk, I would only recommend for long-term.
Let's say I have 50,000 euros and give it to you, and I will invest for 1 year. I mean, you keep it for 1 year and give me maybe 10,000 more. Does it really work?
No.
No, right?
No. So I think everyone who tells you that you make a lot of money in a very short time, mostly that's bullshit, actually.
Yeah.
So if you have 50,000 and you want to make it grow to 60,000 or more, I would always say please invest for at least 5 to 7 years. The longer the better.
A diversified portfolio, if possible, then he might get more than what he expected.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So I would always we always split in our consultation short-term, mid-term, long-term investment, and then we think about the risk and returns for each kind.
Right. So finally, what an employee or an expat here wants is a safe living, safe investment. So for that, insurances, a lot of insurances, options to take loans, opportunities to take loans, options to invest in stocks, bonds, real estate, whatever, and a flexible or reachable tax advisor.
Yeah.
Right? And a good future for their kids.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think your firm covers all the topics.
We can combine.
You can combine all of them?
Yeah. So actually we're not, the only thing that's a bit more tricky, we're not tax consultants. But actually tax consultants will only look at the past. So what has been in the past, and what kind of costs can you declare. We are looking at the future. How can you save more taxes in the future?
Right.
We're not allowed to do the tax declaration, but we give recommendations how to save more taxes in the future.
Okay. So for example, if somebody calls you, but then you give them advice and charge.
Only if they do a concept with us.
There is a concept for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of yearly. So
Yeah. So there are several kind of tax benefits. Some you need to invest money in a certain concept. Others are just general tax benefits that we recommend.
Okay.
We don't charge for any kind of information that we give.
Okay. Yeah. So Celina, Göttingen is a student city. There's a University of Göttingen. So a lot of students come here, and then they do also a lot of mini jobs here, what their visa allows them. But still, they don't even think about investment because they are not earning yet a real time. I mean, in a real job.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. So, do you also suggest them to invest? Is it the right stage? Or if they start investing during their studies, do they have to deal with a lot of tax?
I would recommend students 100% to start investing, but only with an amount that's left by the end of the month, right? Because for students, like they can be on a tight budget sometimes. So what we do in all our appointments, actually, we do a housing budget. So we will check, okay, what's the income, what's the cost of living a student has, and then they can also start investing with the minimum of 25 euros a month or more if they have the money for that. But they should not need the money for their short-term costs.
Got it.
And regarding the taxes, actually it can be very useful for students to do a tax declaration. Of course, the income won't be so high, so the tax rate will be neither. But there are a lot of costs that they can claim, like for materials or costs for university. So they have very good chances for getting some cash back through the tax declaration.
But usually what they think, the tax consultant charge more, maybe they cannot afford. Is it true?
Yeah. Tax consultants are always very expensive. But also here, I mean, students could try to do it with an app because for them it's not that complex.
I think nowadays there are a lot of apps available.
Yeah, or as I mentioned previously, they can also go to the Lohnsteuerhilfeverein to seek for help there.
So they help you?
Yeah.
That's good.
So you give them your documents and your information. They will charge you, let's say, 100 euros, which is way cheaper than with tax consultants. And they will do all the tax declaration for you.
Is it a government body?
No, I think those are more like private
but
institutes. But they exist in every city. So, for example, I'm from Hamburg. I think we have like 10 minimum in Hamburg.
For example, if I want to find a new tax consultant, it's very difficult for me. Can I directly go there and I get immediate help?
Yeah, so it could be that they're overbooked. But usually they help anyone that needs some help with their taxes.
So with that, I would like to thank you once again. And I wish you all the best for your future career. Thank you once again for coming to my podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me being part of this. I hope it will help a lot of people.
Hopefully, yes.
And give them more confidence regarding their investments.